Normally, I avoid stepping into debates like this, but when it comes to Caitlin Clark and everything unfolding around her, staying quiet no longer feels possible.
But my first inclination is to say that this person is not a female. Firstly, because this was actually posted to Brittney's personal Instagram.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. We have another major WNBA story to break down, and this is one you'll want to follow all the way through because the conversation surrounding Caitlin Clark, Brittney Griner, and Michael Jordan is creating an enormous reaction across the basketball community. Before we get into the details, let me know where you stand. If you proudly support Caitlin Clark, write CC 100% in the comments section so everyone can see how strong this community has become. With that said, there is no reason to delay any longer, so let's get directly into what is being claimed and why so many basketball fans are talking about it.
As far as I understand, it's mostly women without penises, but I leave that to you to figure it. Well, it's actually a little unclear because this Brittney Griner, a lot of people think she's a dude. But in any event, Brittney Griner is a black basketball player who some people think is a man.
The video shows a glimpse of what life was like for WNBA star Brittney Griner inside Russian prison. She spent her days carrying fabric because she was too tall to sit at the sewing tables where other prisoners worked. Her bed was too small for her 6'9" frame. Griner was arrested back in February for traveling with hashish oil, a substance banned in Russia. She was sentenced to 9 years in prison in August. Her release part of a prisoner swap for Victor Bout, a convicted Russian arms dealer.
Imagine one of the most celebrated figures in basketball history, watching the WNBA's most influential young star repeatedly become the focus of controversial physical treatment. According to the story now circulating online, that is exactly what supposedly happened when Michael Jordan saw footage involving Brittney Griner and Caitlin Clark. The alleged reaction attributed to Jordan has spread rapidly throughout basketball discussions, with commentators claiming that he strongly condemned the way Clark was treated. But before examining those reported remarks, think about the larger question. How many young athletes have entered a professional league carrying this much attention while also appearing to face this level of physical resistance? Clark has dealt with aggressive defense, intense criticism, enormous expectations, and constant scrutiny from the moment she arrived. The account being shared claims that something Jordan witnessed during a game involving the Connecticut Sun fundamentally changed his perspective on how the WNBA has handled Clark. That comparison is particularly powerful because Jordan understands better than almost anyone what it means to become the primary target of opponents who cannot consistently stop a superstar through ordinary basketball strategy. During the 1980s and early 1990s, defenders frequently attempted to disrupt Jordan with force, intimidation, hard fouls, and relentless contact because matching his intelligence, athleticism, scoring ability, and competitive drive was nearly impossible. Even so, the reported comments suggest that Jordan sees an important distinction between legitimate physical basketball and actions directed at a player while she is vulnerable. The version of events circulating among fans claims he characterized what happened as one of the most cowardly things he had witnessed on a basketball court in decades. That is an extraordinary accusation, especially coming from someone associated with an era remembered for brutal defensive battles and intimidating enforcers. Whether every quotation being shared online can be independently verified or not, the reaction surrounding the story reveals how strongly fans feel about Clark's treatment. Many believe normal competition has gradually crossed into something more personal, while others argue that physical contact is simply part of professional basketball and that Clark must be defended like every other elite player. That disagreement is exactly why this conversation has become so intense. If you enjoy detailed breakdowns of the biggest basketball controversies, take a moment to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. A large percentage of people watching still have not joined the community, and subscribing costs nothing while helping us continue producing these stories. Once you've done that, let's return to the controversy and examine why the alleged Jordan response has generated such a dramatic reaction. The story claims that after Michael Jordan watched the footage involving Brittney Griner and Caitlin Clark, his response was immediate and unforgiving. Jordan spent his career battling some of the most intimidating competitors basketball has ever produced, including players such as Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer. So very few people would be more qualified to recognize the difference between fierce competition and conduct that crosses an unacceptable line. He played through an era in which defenders routinely knocked offensive players to the floor, challenged every drive, and attempted to impose themselves physically. Yet the account being circulated says that even Jordan believed the timing and nature of the contact involving Clark fell outside what should be accepted as competitive basketball. The alleged analysis focuses heavily on the idea that confronting an opponent directly is fundamentally different from striking, shoving, or targeting someone while that player is exposed or unaware. According to the narrative, Jordan argued that championship-level defense requires courage, discipline, and accountability, It means standing in front of an opponent, accepting the challenge, and attempting to defeat that person through preparation, effort, intelligence, and skill. Waiting until someone turns away, the story suggests, does not demonstrate toughness. Instead, it reflects a willingness to exploit vulnerability rather than compete honestly. That distinction is supposedly what angered Jordan most. The controversy grew even larger because of Griner's reaction after the incident. Rather than offering a clear apology or acknowledging that the situation may have gone beyond normal competition, she was portrayed as believing that fans and members of the media were criticizing her unfairly. Her reported "damned if I do, damned if I don't" response only intensified the debate. The Jordan commentary being shared claims that true champions accept responsibility for their behavior, particularly when an action could place another athlete at serious risk. Great competitors may play hard, commit fouls, lose their tempers, or make mistakes, but they do not avoid accountability when the consequences become serious. According to this version of the story, Jordan saw Griner's defensive reaction as evidence that she was attempting to redirect attention away from the action itself. Some commentators have taken that argument even further, suggesting that players who cannot match Clark's influence through talent or production may search for other ways to affect her performance. That is an extremely severe interpretation, and it has resulted in Griner being described by Clark's supporters as a player relying on questionable tactics rather than defeating a superior opponent through basketball ability. The narrative then shifts toward what Jordan allegedly recognizes in Clark. He is said to see several of the uncommon qualities that once separated him from nearly everyone else: a remarkable understanding of the game, confidence in decisive moments, the ability to create opportunities under pressure, and an instinct for making teammates more dangerous. Clark's passing vision stretches defenses beyond their normal limits. Her shooting range changes how opponents must guard the entire floor. Her pace creates transition opportunities before defenses can organize. Most importantly, her presence raises expectations for everyone around her. But the reported concern is that instead of being allowed to focus completely on developing those gifts, she must remain constantly prepared for unnecessary contact, hidden shots, aggressive challenges, and moments in which opponents appear more interested in sending a message than playing the possession. Supporters argue that this pattern exposes a larger problem in how certain competitors approach Clark. Rather than improving enough to match her preparation, creativity, and execution, they try to reduce her effectiveness through intimidation. According to the alleged Jordan viewpoint, repeatedly attacking an opponent at her most defenseless represents the lowest form of competition because it replaces skill with opportunism. This is why the discussion has spread so quickly. The comparison between Clark's experience and Jordan's own early years is impossible for fans to ignore. Jordan was physically tested throughout his rise, particularly when teams realized ordinary defensive schemes could not consistently stop him. However, the story claims he believes Clark is facing an even more complicated situation because she is only in her early 20s and is already carrying the responsibility of becoming the most recognizable face in women's basketball. Every game attracts enormous attention. Every disagreement becomes a headline. Every foul is replayed repeatedly. Every facial expression becomes part of a larger argument. Jordan allegedly sees that combination of physical pressure, media attention, commercial expectation, and cultural debate as a burden few players have ever experienced so early in their professional careers. The most controversial portion of the story concerns what he supposedly said about Griner's future and the league's responsibility. According to the claims spreading across social media, Jordan warned that when a league allows players to pursue its biggest stars with reckless or unethical tactics without meaningful consequences, it teaches less talented competitors that controversy can be used as a substitute for improvement. Rather than developing stronger fundamentals, better conditioning, greater awareness, and more effective defensive technique, players may believe they can remain relevant simply by creating confrontations with the athlete everyone is watching. That precedent would be dangerous for any league attempting to grow. It could discourage rising stars, damage public trust, and send the wrong message to young players learning the sport. Basketball should demonstrate the value of discipline, teamwork, courage, sportsmanship, and dedication. Young viewers should not come away believing that the easiest path to recognition is selecting a vulnerable target or becoming involved in a viral altercation. The alleged Jordan remarks also contain a prediction about Clark's future. He supposedly believes adversity will not destroy her but sharpen her. Every hard foul, intimidating moment, controversial play, and attempt to distract her could strengthen her determination to dominate through pure basketball performance. That comparison resembles Jordan's own rookie experience, when veteran defenders repeatedly tested whether his body and mentality could survive the demands of the league. The difference, as the story emphasizes, is that Clark is enduring those physical tests while navigating levels of attention that would overwhelm most athletes. She is not simply playing basketball. She is carrying television ratings, ticket sales, sponsorship expectations, endless media debates, and the hopes of millions of new fans. This is why support from an iconic figure such as Jordan would matter so much. It would not merely represent one superstar defending another. It would symbolize a defense of basketball's fundamental integrity. Clark in this framing represents the qualities that make the game compelling: imagination, vision, competitiveness, elegance, resilience, and the willingness to accept enormous responsibility. Players accused of targeting her represent the danger of allowing personal resentment or desperation to become more important than legitimate competition. The WNBA therefore appears to be approaching a defining moment. It can protect its most important athletes while still allowing hard physical basketball, or it can ignore repeated controversies until the public begins to believe that unnecessary contact is being tolerated because drama attracts attention. Protecting a star does not mean giving that player special treatment or removing physical defense from the sport. It means applying rules consistently, identifying dangerous behavior, and ensuring that every athlete can compete without worrying about avoidable harm. The reported message from Jordan is direct. The direction chosen by the league could influence its future for years. That leaves everyone with a critical question. Will WNBA officials seriously evaluate the concerns surrounding Clark, or will they continue treating each incident as an isolated moment until something more serious occurs? Share your reaction below. Do you believe the criticism directed at Griner is justified, or has the entire situation been exaggerated by fans and media personalities? Should the league introduce stronger penalties for actions that appear unnecessary, or would that create unfair protection for high-profile stars? Most importantly, can the WNBA preserve intense competition while also making player safety a genuine priority? Add your perspective in the comments because every side of this debate deserves to be heard. Subscribe and activate notifications for more discussions that move beyond surface-level headlines and examine what these stories could mean for basketball. The controversy surrounding the alleged Michael Jordan comments may eventually influence how Clark is officiated, defended, and protected, but the issue is becoming much larger than one foul, one game, or one confrontation. It now touches the league's identity, the standards it intends to enforce, and the responsibility it carries when an athlete becomes central to the sport's growth. Few basketball players have ever entered a professional league with expectations comparable to those surrounding Clark. Millions follow her performances. Every pass is evaluated. Every shot is debated. Every victory becomes evidence of her influence, while every difficult game becomes an opportunity for critics to question her reputation. That is the reality of becoming one of basketball's biggest names. At the same time, WNBA veterans continue to compete with pride, toughness, and years of experience. They should not be expected to step aside simply because Clark attracts extraordinary attention. They are professional athletes fighting for victories, contracts, respect, and championships. The challenge for the league is making certain that this intensity remains within the boundaries of safe competition. Fans want physical games. They want rivalries, emotional moments, defensive pressure, and real consequences. What they do not want is instability, inconsistent officiating, or the belief that certain players can be endangered without an appropriate response. Jordan's name gives this conversation additional weight because he understands the mental and physical demands of performing while the entire sports world is watching. He competed against legendary defenders and endured some of the most punishing strategies ever designed to stop a superstar. Yet the central message attributed to him is not that basketball should become softer. It is that physical competition must still respect the integrity of the game. Skill should remain the deciding factor. Preparation should matter more than controversy. Courage should mean accepting the challenge in front of you, not exploiting a moment when an opponent cannot protect herself. Whether you completely agree with the alleged comments or believe the story has been overstated, there is no denying the conversation it has generated. Fans, former athletes, analysts, media figures, and current players continue debating what should happen when the league's biggest star repeatedly becomes involved in highly physical incidents. Should referees call games more tightly? Should the league review dangerous contact more aggressively? Should suspensions and fines become more severe? Or are these events being magnified simply because Clark receives attention no other WNBA athlete has experienced? There is no universal answer. What remains clear is Clark's response. She continues focusing on basketball instead of allowing criticism, contact, or controversy to control the direction of her career. She keeps competing, creating opportunities, and demonstrating why so many supporters believe she represents the future of the sport. Her resilience is one of the strongest reasons fans remain loyal to her. The WNBA is attracting unprecedented interest. Arenas are filling, television audiences are growing, social media discussions expand every day, and people who previously ignored women's basketball are now following teams, players, and standings. Because of that growth, incidents like this influence far more than the reputations of two athletes. They shape how the entire league is viewed around the world. As the season continues, every game involving Clark will carry greater significance. Each hard foul will be replayed. Every officiating decision will be questioned. Every confrontation will become part of a broader narrative about one of the most closely watched periods in WNBA history. So now the final questions belong to you. Do the comments attributed to Michael Jordan reflect genuine concerns about the direction of the league? Is the WNBA doing enough to protect every player, including its most marketable stars, while still preserving the tough and competitive style professional basketball demands? How could this controversy affect Griner, Clark, and the league moving forward? Leave your thoughts respectfully in the comments section, because strong communities are built through honest discussion, not blind agreement. Your opinion could even become part of a future video. Subscribe, turn on every notification, and stay connected for deeper basketball analysis, major WNBA developments, stories involving NBA legends, and the latest news surrounding Caitlin Clark. Basketball history continues to unfold every night, and the next chapter could become even more important than everything we have discussed today. Thank you for watching and for continuing to support the channel. Add your final opinion below, select the video appearing on your screen, and we will see you in the next one.